Good morning, family. Alright, this is Deep Soul Sessions. I'm telling the truth. I'm your girl, Miss Star. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning back, welcome back. I'm gonna make this as quick and as brief as possible. Okay. Now, your girl been binge reading. Damn, that goddamn Murray's beeswax. That shit's so damn thick. But anyway, put beeswax on my hair. But anyway, your girl been binge reading, all right? And it just came to me. Spirit just spoke to me. And as I was reading um, the about Adam and Eve and going deeper into what really went, y'all need to read the book of Adam and Eve. Okay. The book of Jasher, the book of Jubilees. Those been the three books that I've been mainly on right now. Um, and also the KJV Bible, and doing my comparison. And as I said in many of my shorts, and I've been saying for a long time, right, that there's a lot in the KJV Bible family. Okay, your girl ain't got time to be sitting up here lying. Okay, they're not telling us. It's not telling us. Okay, but however, when just reading on Adam and getting off into also the cosmos and understanding that Adam, Adam, is actually the atom, Atom, right? And then we have Adam and Eve, right? And Eve will be a representation to the moon. Adam will be a representation symbolic just for the sun, for the atom, all right? Um, and then we know that the sun is an atom, right? Atom. And so in the Bible, we know scientifically, right, that woman cannot be taken from cannot be made from a man, right? Coming from man's rib. All right, this is symbology. All right, it is really symbology. Because one thing we do know is that the moon, and Eve will be the moon, that the moon receives light from the sun, right? During the time of the new moon is dark, right? But also that new moon is the moon is so close to the sun, is receiving light, right? And so as it starts to illuminate, it starts to give off light until the full moon, and then the full moon is like is closing, and the moon also looks like also the tomb that you may see in the movies with Jesus Christ, how they have to roll over the rock, the tomb. It's almost like, just pay attention, right? And I'm gonna get on that with the Passion of Christ and Jesus and the moon, right? Just hold on. But these are all symbolic gestures, because we know that the atom is driven from an atom, Atom, as I just said, and Eve came from the rib of Adam, so that is symbolically saying that the moon gets its light from the sun. But however, going over the book of Enoch, right? And Enoch lived 365 years. Enoch was taken up, right? Ascension or whatever. Okay. I find that funny because we have a 365-day year. And when you get deep into the book of Enoch breaks it down with the luminaries, the sun and the moon and the planets, and the gates, right? And how one rises out of how they rise out the east, and and they pass through the 12 it didn't say 12 steps, it say 12 something, all right, until it goes into the west gate, right? So we know, like, biblically speaking, it says, is there not 12 hours in a day? We know that there's 12 hours day, 12 hours night. That gives us a 24-hour day, right? Are y'all following me? Do y'all get where I'm going with this? So it's like Spirit has really been aiming me and really been letting me know, what I'm saying, that to come out of her. And as we are told in the book of Revelations, come out of her, my people. What is that? Her. It's like, come out of we have to be connected to earth, right? Earth is considered a her, right? A feminine energy. And when it says coming out of her, we have to come out of the the physical, thinking everything physical, and understand the spiritual things of everything around us, nature, everything, the spiritual essence of things, right? So come out of her, my people, so you don't receive her plagues. So if you want to be carnal minded, guess what? You're going to receive the things and the plagues of a carnal mind, if you get what I'm going with that, okay? All right, it's kind of hard for me to explain exactly what I'm saying, but I know what I'm saying, okay? All right. When you get off into the book of Enoch, it talks about the luminaries. And I'm like, you know what? This is like dealing with the zodiac. It's dealing with the gates, all right, and how they're broken down into 4 parts. The book of Enoch breaks that down. Some of y'all got it read it. You know exactly what it is I'm talking about. But has it ever just dawned on many of you that it is Enoch could actually be, and actually is, our 365-day cycle, which that's how we consider a year. That's what came to me this morning. Now, one thing I want to mention, that the importance of the moon is when we go to the Passion of Christ, you know, we read those, we look at those movies. I want to say it was Mel Gibson who did that movie, A Red Cardinal Family. All right, just our Red Cardinal. So this is a message to someone, okay? Your angels, your guides, your ancestors, whatever it is, all right? When he was, I guess, in supplication, I guess if that's the word, you know, to use, but it's like he was afflicted or something, and he was like sweating, and he was like that type of energy, right? The sun wasn't out. He was looking up towards the moon. Like, just go look at that clip in the beginning part of the Passion of Christ. And when I saw that, it just like flew on me, and I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's something very important in the symbology within that movie about the moon, all right? And then when he finished doing like his affliction, or he was feeling afflicted in his supplication, he went over to his disciples with Peter and them, and they were asleep, right? And he was like, what, y'all can't even stay up? You know what I'm saying? Y'all fall asleep. It's another symbolic representation of the conscience, right? Of being conscious and being aware of what's actually going on and what's actually taking place. That was a symbolic representation to actually being asleep spiritually. And you know, and we are in the Gregorian year of 2023. All right. Hold on. I want to say the Ethiopian, it's an ancient calendar, and it's 7 years behind us, right? So, but that's why I said in Gregorian year, we're in the year 2023. All right. So it's all this about coming out the matrix. It's all this also biblically written that the Most High will come back and, you know, redeem the people. Woo, 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 woo. And I feel as though, you know, spiritually, my spiritual path and all the things that the Holy Spirit has given me and guided me to all the books and all everything it is that I've read, right? That time is now. That time is now, because remember, the children of Israel will go into captivity. All right, now if you want to get physical minded, we already know there's only one people on the face of this earth that was scattered to the 4 corners of the earth. All right, and we're not going to get on the transatlantic slave trade. Let's not take it there today, okay? All right, but that's just being physical, carnal minded, if you want to put it that way, okay? So from a carnal mind, right? The children of Israel were going to captivity. Captivity also took place physically, and when that physical captivity took place, guess what? The captives, what you call them enslavers, what are captives, right? They were able to put the mind and put the consciousness, put our spiritual interpretation to things, and how our ancestors understood all these things before the invasion, before the enslavement. So now a lot of minds are in captivity. So when we're looking at Adam and how he lived, and we're looking at Enoch and Noah and how they lived, these are all numbers pertaining to the cycles of how long it takes a particular luminary to pass through a particular gate of heaven. You know what I'm saying? For example, Enoch lived 365 days. But like I said earlier in this video, in the book of Enoch, it tells us about the 12 gates. It tells us about how they were split up, divided into 4 sections. All right, that's our north, south, east, and west. All right, and it tells us, and this is how you know it's talking about the Gregorian calendar. It's talking about the calendar because it tells you how the sun goes through the luminaries. There's a 30-day count. There's a 31-day count. There's a 30 count, a 30 count, a 30 count, then a 31-day count. You know what I'm saying? That's how our calendars are set up. And then it gets right down to one particular count that says it's 28 days. We know that the cycle of the moon is what? 28. You know, right at 29 days. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist, you know, how would I say? If you don't understand the sun and the moon, which is the life giver of earth, right, and understand earth itself, when you read these things will go way over your head. You'll be reading it, but you're not conscious to it. So this is when Christ was telling his disciples, you know, Peter and them, you can't stay woke, you're sleeping. Y'all, 11:11 is on the timer. Thank you, Spirit. Like, last night I was reading, and another thing that just dawns on me was the lies, you know, the things and the truth is not being told, especially with Cain and Abel. They don't even mention not Cain and Abel, Adam and Eve. They don't even mention the daughters. They don't even mention the daughters, which one of them daughters would be a symbolic representation to the planet Venus. Venus is a feminine energy. Adam, A-D-A-M, is the atom, A-T-O-M, and we know that the sun is an atom. And we know that the moon receives light from the sun, which would be Eve. Cain slew Abel. Cain was cast out and marked. Okay, that's almost like you can put it this way, but it's not exactly this way. You can say, okay, well, Cain is like a fallen star. We know that stars, after so long, they die off, right? Y'all understand the carbon, stardust, and all that other stuff, all right? I'm not going to get deep off into that, all right? But for the most part, I want to come on here and I want to, like, you know, sprinkle some light. And I'm not going to even lie to y'all. My channel should be further than what it is right now. I feel as though. And I'm trying to sound narcissistic or something like that. But I've been putting in a lot of work for some years now, right? And I do feel as though YouTube is messing with my channel. Because there's some information out here. And I'm not the only person on YouTube who done said something like that. All right? This government, this beast, they don't want you to know this. That was a purpose of especially the natives and the African Americans. And I'm not that part. I don't like covering that because I don't like the division in that. But it is, for the most part, why was it so important that they didn't want our ancestors to be educated? And the only book that they gave our ancestors were the Bible. And they really didn't want them reading that. They just wanted them to believe what they were being told. And that's why we're in the condition of what we're in today. We know that the sun also is another symbolic, Jesus is also another symbolic representation to the sun. The book of Malachi, I want to say, is a 4:1, 4:2. When God talks about his son, he's talking about the S-O-N being his S-U-N, is the S-U-N, my son in his righteousness. Remember, I want to say in the book of Acts, chapter 12 or chapter 14, somewhere up in there, Apostle Paul is mentioned to be the planet Mercury. Barnabas is mentioned to be the planet Jupiter. And that Moses had all the knowledge and the wisdom of the Egyptians. And we know that the Egyptians, aka really Okamitians, they understood the luminaries. They understood the sun, the moon. They built temples. And they built the pyramids. And there's another word that we use for pyramids. All right? Pyramids is a Greek form. All right? But how can these pyramids be exactly in direct alignment to the 3 stars in Orion's belt? But yet Moses had that knowledge and the wisdom. And he was very mighty in words and deeds. And I want to say with the Moses part in the book of Acts, I want to say that's Moses 7 and Acts 7 and 20, Acts 7 and 22, somewhere up in that. I could, okay, I'm trying to quote these things off the top of my dome. All right. And then we go to the book of Joel, and it talks about the sun being darkened and the moon going into blood. You know what I'm saying? That's blood moons, the solar eclipses here. And also is mentioned in the New Testament in the book of Acts. So right there is letting us know that there's a lot of symbolic, like, they say that the Bible is the greatest story ever written. A story, but with a lot of symbolic hidden meanings, not to be taken to be literal. Because I want to say, is it in the book of Romans, in the book of Corinthians, somewhere in the New Testament says, to be carnal minded is enmity. It puts enmity between you and God, between you and the Creator. All right. So that's why a lot of us, they want us to be carnal minded. They want us to look at everything that's being said in the Bible to be just straight physical and historical. And when we stay in a mindset like that, we can't pick up on these type of things that's going on as actually being said, the bigger meanings, and what's really being said in the Bible and in these other biblical scriptures, these other sacred writings. Because we're carnal minded. And the carnal is not good. Our souls are having an experience in a physical body. Why do you think the Most High made it, the Creator made it to where the body will die, but giving our souls eternal life? So we have to think with a spiritual mind. But understand, as we are spiritual beings in a physical body, that we have to also adjust and bring that balance, you know what I'm saying? And accept the fact that, you know, becoming, how would I say, be in tune with the physical world as well. But know that that dies. But the spirit, the energy, all right, the I don't even know the words to say. Life continues, and that's the energy. The energy is the spirit that does not die. And the earth is older than what we think. All right. And a lot of things date back to say Christ walked the earth 2,000 years ago. Only thing I'm going to say, man, I keep saying this on my channel, people better get the reading and take a tip and get help. Because when I say these Romans and the Roman Catholic Church, is really, they want you to believe it. Some been around for nobody really knows. And a lot of these things date back to the natives, to the Cometians, who now today we call Egyptians. This goes all the way back to Mesopotamia. I mean, it goes deep, and the rabbit hole just keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. But as you get deep and deeper, it'll just all make sense, and it make perfect sense of, especially when you grew up Christian, because I did, right? You know, going to church. And then it starts to all make sense of the importance of why Jesus spoke in parables. I mean, his parables is bigger meanings to that, right? Because it was meant at one point, we had to talk in symbology. We had to use things and talk and speak it as if it was really physical, but really there's a bigger meaning behind it to trick the enemy. So the enemy would not understand and comprehend. But we had those like Cleopatra want to let them on in. And baby, look, I'm not going to even go into them stories right there. Just do your research. So with that being said, if you're new to my channel, you just came to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can hit the like button, drop a comment. If you're going to drop a comment, make sure you keep it respectful. Because, baby, I claps back. I'm sorry, Lord. Don't do it. Don't do it. I see y'all lovely people in the next video, man. Get out there, read them books. I'm posting things on a community board. Just go and read it for yourself. Make sure you have a spirit of discernment. Am I right? Those are one of our gifts that we are told in the book of Corinthians. The book of, we have the gift of discernment, the gift of healing, the gift of knowledge, the gift of wisdom, the gift of speaking in tongues. I mean, it's just so many gifts, but God divides and gives these gifts to whom he decides to give these gifts to. It's right there in the book of Corinthians. I want to say chapter 8. Was it 12 and 8 or 8 and 12? Something like that. But with that being said, also the book of Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, when we are told that there's celestial bodies and they're terrestrial bodies. Celestial bodies are the luminaries, everything that is above earth. And the terrestrial bodies is us. The trees, birds, the lions, the bears. We're terrestrial. The grass. And all of them have their own glory. So with that being said, oh, and also mentioned something about Adam before Adam even became flesh. So with that being said, I'm going to end this video. I done ran into 20 minutes. Peace.